How's it going, guys? This video is just a quick overview on how to make things move in Live2D Modeler. So let's start on just the face first. So I'm going to make everything around the face just be invisible. Next, I'm just going to make the chin invisible as well. So now that we just have the face here, I want to select it by clicking on the subsection of the face and then just clicking on the drawable object itself. So that'll bring up the texture grid here. And once that's done, I'm going to click on Create Deformer. Make sure curved surface is selected and the divisions are how you want them. And also make sure the set to parent of the selected object is selected. So hit OK, and I'll bring up your deformer. As you can see, if you move these points, you'll also move your drawing. So what I want to do is I want to make this deformer smaller so it fits the head better. And how I'm going to do that is by holding Control and Alt, and then I'll just shrink it. There we go. And just make sure the gray outline of the square is still around the drawing. And then this way I have a better grid of how I can modify my face. So after this is all set and done, I gotta make keyframes. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna go over and hover over to where a blue outline will show around a rectangle. And then I'll bring up angle X and angle Y together into one box. After I've done that, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to add my keyframes. So on angle X, just hit add 3 keys and it'll add the 3 keyframes that you want on there. Then next I'm going to go to angle Y and add another 3 keyframes. And then I'm going to hit OK. So as you can see, after I did that, now I got a grid and it's full of green highlights. So each point, like this, will be when he's going to be looking left. This is going to be when he's looking right, and then up and down, and diagonal. So you got X and then the Y axis. So to click right onto these points instead of just dragging around, just right click on the dots so you don't have to spend so much time trying to get it perfect, so this grid will come up. So right now this is going to be the resting position, and since this is already set the way we want it, we don't have to do anything for the middle dot. But when he's turning left, this is what we're going to have to change. So make sure you right click on this dot. Next we'll modify the head so it looks like he's looking towards the left. And I'm just going to drag these main dots that's on the grid and just do very subtle changes here. And then for the smaller dots that are between the bigger quadrant dots, these are just going to be for like minor adjustments. Alright. Yeah, it's not that great, but it will have to do. Yeah. Okay, so after that, when I drag my dot back to the middle, you can see he went back to the resting position. So you could now do the other side. So right click on the other side of the grid, and so as you can see, you got some movement here now. So now we want to do the other side, so we'll right click on the other side of the grid and we'll do the same thing, except for he'll be looking towards the right. Just another thing too, if you need to, you could always import another guide image to help you deform your drawing to the angle of the head you're trying to get. Alright, and I'll bring that back. So now we got our x-axis movement. Now we need to put our y-axis movement, the up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the top dot here, and I'm going to make him look up. And I'm just going to do that by raising the chin up. So it kind of looks like he's looking up a little bit. And I'm going to bring the head down so that it kind of covers the neck. And let's just check to see if that looks natural. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we'll do him looking down. So we'll click on this bottom dot, or right click on this bottom dot, and we will bring the chin down. And of course you could do it however way you want it. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing as we go, just for an example. Alright, so there you go. Now we got up, down, we've got left and right. Now as you can see, when I go to the diagonal positions, it just goes back to the resting spot. So I could synthesize the parameters on here so that the X and Y will average out to where it'll do it automatically. And so how I do that is I go to parameters, synthesize corners, and then make sure your parameter 1 is angle X and parameter 2 is angle Y, and then you can hit OK. And then that will automatically set those diagonal points for you. Sometimes it doesn't work out too well, it just really depends, but you can manually adjust those corner poses. Alright, so let's get the bangs next. So I'm going to make the bangs visible again. And I'm going to just do the same thing as I did with the face. I'm going to click on the plus button, bring down the subsection, and then I'll click on bangs. And then that'll bring up the texture grid. As you can see, my bangs kind of got cut off here when I did the PSD import. So I'm just going to show you a quick tip on how to fix that. It's just going to be real quick. So I'm just going to hit edit texture. And as you can see, it just brought it up since it was selected. And I'm just going to close this triangle here. And then I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, it's already instantly fixed. So now I can go ahead and create my deformer. Make sure it's on curved surface and the parent is selected. And then click OK. Then I'm going to modify the size of the deformer like I did with the face. So I'm going to hold Control and Alt. And just go ahead and I'm going to make my keyframes. Add 3 keys to X. Add 3 keys to Y. So when he's looking left, I'm going to bring this over a tiny bit. And I'm just going to do the other side. Alright, so now that I got my left and right, I'm going to go ahead and do my up and down. So when he's looking up, I'm just going to move this up. And then when he's looking down, I'm just going to bring this down slightly. There you go. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and synthesize the parameters for my corners here. Make sure it's on angle X and angle Y, and then click OK. And then now it automatically takes care of that for me. So now I'll do the side of the hair. this time I'm just going to highlight both, and I'm going to create a deformer for both of them at the same time. So with these two highlighted, I'm just going to click on create deformer and just do the same thing that I've been doing, and it'll create a deformer for both of them. So I'm just going to resize it. And make my keyframes. Alright, and then I'll do the up, just bring it up. I'll do the down, I'll just bring that down. Then I'll go ahead and synthesize the corners again. Alright, it's good, looks like crap, it's great. And now I'll do the back of the hair. This time, when I do it, the only thing different that I'm going to do is when he looks left, I'm going to move the hair, back of the hair, the other way. So it kind of gives it that 3D effect. And then I'm going to do the other side. Then I'm going to look up. I'm going to look down, drag that up a little bit. So there you go. Kind of gives it that 3D look once you got the back of the hair on. I know it kind of looks like crap. I didn't really spend too much time on it. But yeah. Once you kind of get familiar with everything, you could, make your final touches however you want. You could always start over and delete your keyframes here. Just make sure it's back at the resting position when you do. And then you could just go to angle X, delete all keys, angle Y, delete all keys, hit OK. They should all disappear, and you could just close out and start over again. So let's do the eyes next. I'm just going to make it visible again. And this is just going to be everything except the eyeball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the subsection of eye and just highlight everything. And I'm going to click on create deformer. Make sure it's on curved surface and make sure the parent is set. And then click OK. Then I'm going to shrink this a tiny bit. So after that is done, we'll go ahead and make our keyframes. So I'm going to go to angle X, angle Y, add 3 keys on both of them. And then when he's looking left, I'm just going to move this to the left. And I could change this by making it slightly bigger. And maybe make this a little smaller on the edge. And then we'll go to the right, move it over a bit, probably make that smaller, make this a tiny bit bigger. Whatever works best for you. So now that we got left and right, let's do up and down, which is simply just up a little bit and then down. So bring yourself back up to the middle and we'll synthesize the corners. And you got your eyes. Next, we'll go ahead and make the eyeballs visible. And as you can see, it's a little bit out of place, but not by too much. But this is how you want it. You want the eyeball not connected to the other eye parts itself. So next I'm going to go ahead and do the brows, and I'm going to do that by making it visible again. And then I'll click on it. That way you'll see the grid pop up. And then I'm going to set the parent of the eyebrows to the eye deformer that I just made. And by doing that, you'll see as I move, the eyebrows move with the eye deformer. So I don't even have to do anything. It's already set on there. So next we're going to do the mouth. We're going to make it visible again, and we're going to go to the subsection and highlight everything. Then we'll click on create deformer, make a curved surface, set to the parent of the selected object, and then we'll click OK. And as you can see, we got our deformer here. We'll create the key. We'll create the keyframes. Okay, and then we have the grid now. So when he turns left, we'll move this to the left. When he turns right, do that. Just a tiny bit. And then when he looks up, and then when he looks down. All right. And then we'll go ahead and synthesize corners. And there we go. Just a very basic movement. I could always go back and change it and fix it up if I needed to. Then for the nose, it's just going to be the same thing. Just the last one. I did have a drawing of just 2 lines for the nose, but it looks like it didn't make it through the PSD import. But for this one, I'm not really too concerned about it. So what I'm just going to do for that is I'm just going to click on the nose shadow and create a deformer for it. Just the same way we've been doing it. Curved surface set to the parent of selected object. I'll make this smaller here. And then so with that, we'll create our keyframes for that. And when he's turned left, we'll just move it to the left a little bit. Turns right, we'll just turn to the right, move to the right. And then when he looks up, then when he looks down, probably gonna make this a little bit smaller because the nose is going to be blocking the shadow from being visible when he's looking down. Then we'll probably go back and I'm just going to make this a little bit nicer. Alright, so now the nose is done, let's go ahead and just take a look here. And it is a mess. This has just been a really quick tutorial, so I'm not really too worried. This is just an example model. Definitely if you want to make yours look really good, just it's a tedious process, but the more time you spend on it, the better it'll look. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys next video.